meet once only, just to recommend for extending the period by another 1 year. Sir, nobody in both the houses would oppose this measure, but they can only criticize the way in which the government is dealing with this measure, the way in which the government is sleeping over the matter, a matter which affects the very life of a member of parliament, not only a member of parliament but also a member of the state legislature, as the Honorable the Law Minister has pointed out. Article 102 of our Constitution does not define what is an office of profit, except to say that a ministership or a deputy ministership or even a parliamentary secretaryship, and by a later amendment even a whip of the Congress party would not amount to an office of profit. Only a few instances are specified as to which offices would not amount to an office of profit. Then, sir, complication had arisen even when the original bill was moved, introducing statutory committee and advisory committee. What a statutory committee was or what an advisory committee was not at all defined in the present bill. So doubts had arisen in the minds of various members as to what would amount to a statutory committee or what would amount to an advisory committee, or even whether a vice chancellorship of a university to which are attached certain privileges like the appointment of so many persons, and all that was defined as not an office of profit. And the Honorable the Law Minister was not able to say what office would amount to an office of profit, what would amount to a statutory committee, or what would amount to an advisory committee. Sir, I have only to point out that an important measure such as this, which affects the very existence of the members of parliament, should have been given a very high priority in the matter of legislation. On the contrary, not much attention was given to this. The committee met only once, and even then nothing seems to have happened in that committee. Sir, before the matter goes to a court of law for the judges and for the lawyers to interpret what would amount to an office of profit, it is better that the Honorable the Law Minister brings forward in the coming budget session a comprehensive bill which will specify in its schedules what are offices of profit. The schedule may be of a positive character or of a negative character. The schedules might say that the holders of such and such offices would not be disqualified from being members of parliament or members of state legislatures, or the schedules might say in a negative way that such and such offices are offices of profit, so that the members of parliament and members of the state legislatures would know whether to accept an office and whether they would be disqualified accepting a certain office. My good friend, the agriculture minister is here. I do not know whether he is interested in the international problems, but I hope he will convey some of our ideas to those who are directly dealing with these. I would like to mention the second problem. It is also a negative one, if I may put it in this kind of glitch, that the power of the powerful is increasing at a fantastic rate, and that the distance between it and the other is increasing sharply. We have seen the experience of the UNIDO conference, which is taking place these days, how difficult it is for the international community to work towards a new international economic order, because the powerful do not find it in their interest to agree to a new international economic order which would be more just, and that makes it necessary for us precisely for that reason to concert forces with all other similarly situated countries to work for a new international economic order. But the third factor which I will mention, and which is a positive factor, is that the power of the powerful may be increasing at a fast rate, but there are limits to the use of that power. Parashit, you have enormous weapons. You can destroy the world many times over, but you cannot use those weapons. The balance of terror has given leverage to less powerful countries, those countries who may not be a large power like India and others, to come together, to work together, and to exercise more leverage. And finally, sir, I would like to say that there is an immediate problem for this country, because for the first time we are being encircled. There is the US, China, Pakistan, combine whatever may be their calculation for the rest of the world, and I know that the least the United States is worried, is bothered, is concerned about the Gulf more than anything else, about the Middle East, about the oil, and so on and so forth. The actual impact of what is happening, the actual consequence of it, is encirclement of India for the first time by three major powers. There will be bases there. Today we read in the newspapers that the minister is going to meet the special assistant to the US President, who himself is going to Pakistan. Now, this is an ominous development for which we must find suitable responses. I would suggest a multi-pronged approach. The first element of that approach must be to exercise all our influence to restrain the big powers